to be able to do crown lengthenings, to know if the bone is going to be remodeled or only the gingiva to be cut. You are going to know.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Jenny and I'm a part of education team at Medit. Nice to meet everyone. And today we have Dr. Bogdan here.
Thank you everybody for being here, and I hope you have an amazing day.
It's first time seeing you in the new year.
Yeah, it's such a great pleasure to be here and to actually continue our work on the digital WhatsApp. Last time we did an introductory step where we've built the teeth and the connectors in Medit Clinical. And today we're going to go forward to Medit Design. This piece of software is actually my favorite of all software that Medit offers. It's been so for many years, and I find anything I need there, from positioning tools to the same manipulating tools for meshes to Boolean functions to combine. So everything is there. It's an amazing piece of software that I am going to try to explain to everybody to be able to actually use better and get proper results.
So in this lecture, that's all included.
Yeah, we have functions that I find very useful in Medit design. And integrating the WhatsApp we did, the WhatsApps we did in the first lecture, now we are going to integrate it with more functionality and more possibilities in this software.
Okay, then this lecture will be really interesting.
I hope so.
Yeah. So before we begin, this is a new year for everyone. So Dr. Bogdan, did you plan anything new in this year?
Yes, I have the continuation of this digital WhatsApp series that's now going to go to the clinic side. First, we had the planning side, these two lectures, and now we are going to go to clinics and to actually see, one, how we can take this WhatsApp and use it while scanning. This is very interesting because it's going to give you added value during your scanning phase, and also how to expect the patient to arrive at your doorstep, to be ready for him or her, to have a model of the WhatsApp, to have a shell, to have printing veneers or anything else, to also be able to incorporate these designs you already did in the final crowns. So yeah, and afterwards we'll have some more surprises for the year in form of other webinars.
I think you just had summarized all the things that you're gonna do today.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're ready, shall we begin, Doctor?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Hello everybody, today we are going to take the WhatsApp we did in the previous lecture and import it in Medit Design, where we are going to merge this WhatsApp with multiple other models, from pre-ops to prep scans, to face scans, to jaw segmentations, to roots, to bone, to everything together. We are going to learn how to manipulate these meshes and how to use them to get a more beneficial result in our WhatsApp planning. And with that said, I want to point out that Medit Design for me has become an invaluable tool. Initially, I was going out of the design software and going into Mesh Mixer. That was the software I used for a long time. It still is in some very unique situations, but most of the time, everything I do comes down to Medit Design. And here you are going to find almost all the tools you need to get a predictable and extraordinary result. So great tool from Medit. Please use it and please follow the next steps. So first we are going to open Medit Design, and we are going to import the files that we are going to work upon. We are going to select them from the list. I'm going to import the WhatsApp. The cut model is dark, but the first cut model, not the second one that was lower and we did the WhatsApp upon. the one higher to give us a little bit of intersection with the models, the antagonist and the pre-op. We are going to check if the model intersects the WhatsApp, and also position the model in such a way that we can design, that we can build custom views. As you can see, lateral views, views from the top and views from the bottom, whatever you feel is going to further help you improve your design is going to get selected in custom views. You can add as many views as you want, and once you have done this, you can start using Medit design. So now, to be able to build our first WhatsApp mesh that is going to contain the bridge we did in ClinicCAD and also the model with the virtual extraction sockets, we are going to select the model, and to merge it together with a bridge, we are going to go to edit mode in the upper right. As you can see, we have it selected, and then select Boolean functions and their Boolean union. And for this union, we are going to select the cutout model and the ClinicCAD mesh, and the software will generate a new mesh of this intersection. We are going to name it so that we can further recognize it, save it, and now we have our first WhatsApp mesh. Now that we have our WhatsApp mesh, we are going to start editing it. There are two common errors that we can get in Medit design, and I am going to show you how they look and how to avoid them. First of all, if you are having multiple models on your screen, as you can see in the picture, and you are going to want to manipulate the view by means of right mouse button or middle mouse button, if your cursor hovers over these models and touches them, when you are going to try and rotate the view, you are going to displace the models. And for this, I am going to show you how this happens. As you can see, this was a slight error here. And now you are going to have to hit the undo button or Ctrl Z for the shortcut to take place. So when you are going to want to move the models, just make sure that your cursor doesn't touch the model. The second one that is happening is going to involve manipulating the actual model by means of sculpting tool. And if you are using the sculpting tool and the pre-op or any other mesh is also on screen, the sculpting tool modifies any mesh or any model it touches. So for this not to happen, you are going to go on the tree on the left upper part of the model of the screen, as you can see here. And with the help of the right mouse button, you are going to click the interactive menu. Here you can see the error. We just manipulated the pre-op model, although we didn't want to. And we can lock the tree, the models in the tree, so the software with the sculpting tools doesn't do these modifications, and we are only going to be able to modify the WhatsApp mesh. So now we are going to start editing our WhatsApp. This time I am working on the WhatsApp merge to the model already. I am going to use the sculpting tools available in Medit design, from the morphing tool to the smooth, additive, subtractive functions. I am going to switch my views, and I am going to pull the WhatsApp in the right position, add material. As you can see here, I am always checking against the pre-op. Also, I can check against the smile design. So, also using the custom views we've seen before. These custom views always switch us back to a clear position, and this clear position will allow us to give a more predictable outcome to this WhatsApp. A slight disadvantage in Medit design is that always when you want to add or remove material from your WhatsApp and another mesh is on top, even if it's semi-transparent, as you can see here, the software won't allow manipulating of the WhatsApp model. So if you need to do this, you need to switch off for example, the pre-op model that you see on the screen, and add material, and then recheck the pre-op model and see if you had the desired results. Now, the next thing I want to show you here is the actual merging of the WhatsApp model but only on the vestibular side to the pre-op model, and we are going to maintain the pre-op model on the palatal side, have the vestibular model from the wax-up. So the beauty of the wax-up design and the occlusion that we get from the pre-op, these two things are going to get together in the same mesh. And to do this, we are first going to duplicate the bridge and also the pre-op, and we are going to rename it because I don't want to do modifications of this level on the design structures, and I'm going to do them on copies of these models. Everything is going to get locked, as you can see there. And first of all, we are going to start and subtract from the mesh of the wax-up. As you can see, it starts disappearing, and we cut away from the wax-up until only the pre-op is left on screen. The pre-op now is checked, is locked, as I've teached you before. And as you can see, very fast, we just get, now we unlock the pre-op and lock the wax-up and do the same subtractive technique on the pre-op model, removing everything that shows through the wax-up. Both models are visible so that you know what you have to remove and what stays. And very easily you can see now on one side the wax-up is left, and on the other side we have the pre-op. This, as I said before, will allow to maintain the occlusion from the pre-op. Now that everything is in place, we are just going to smooth the wax-up so that it extends nicely over the pre-op. We have two models now modified, both pre-op and wax-up, and now we are going to merge them together in the Boolean union to get a final model. So we are going to merge the wax-up, the copy of the wax-up, and the copy of the pre-op, both modified. Now, after we get them merged together, we are going to name the mesh as wax-up with pre-op. And then we are going to uncheck both pre-op and wax-up so that we can only see the model that we got, and to make sure there are no errors, we turn it from all sides. And after we check this, we can also use our custom views to turn it faster. And this is the way to get this merged model. I do have to mention that this was not the ideal model for such a case. I just wanted to show this as a proof of concept as to how it is done. But actually I wouldn't try this on a patient with such big differences between the pre-op and the wax-up. So bear this in mind. So one more thing about editing the wax-up is that maybe you are going to want to do modifications of the occlusal surface of this wax-up, like the palatal surface of this group of teeth, and by doing so, if there are modifications of occlusion, there are going to be interferences, and I'm going to show you a way that actually allows you to adjust these modifications to the occlusion of the patient. And for this to happen, we are going to actually need to work only on the bridge, on the clinic cut bridge. We are going to simulate here some modifications by adding material, so don't mind that I'm not going to do it pretty. I'm just adding material for you to see that it is going to interfere with the occlusion and with and have intersections with the antagonist. We are adding material. Now we are going to check on the antagonist. As you can see, there are intersections, and what to do with them. We are just going to perform a Boolean cut, and the cut is done by the mandible cutting on the bridge, but not on the wax-up that has the bridge and the maxilla, because then it's going to also cut the interferences to the other teeth. We only want to cut the interferences on our bridge. So we cut them with the mandible, then we are going to have some rough spots, as you can see here, and these are going to be smoothed out by smoothing tool from the sculpting tools. And after we smooth them, sometimes there is going to still be interference, so you can do this multiple times to cut by antagonist and then smooth and then cut again and then smooth some more. And when you are happy with your results, every model that we've worked on, the WhatsApp model, the modified models with the palatal pre-op and the vestibular WhatsApp, everything is going to get saved to Medit link. As you can see, by right clicking the model, you can just hit export and you can choose whatever you want to export, rename it, and afterwards you are going to save your Medit design file so that you can come back to these designs you did and maybe work on them some more. Now I am going to show you another case, and in this case, as you can see, we are also using a face scan of the patient to do the actual smile design and wax up. And as you can see, through the transparent layer of the face, we can set some custom views. And to also do so, I am checking a new tool from Medit Design that you can see the grid. I'm overlaying a grid of squares over the face that can actually help me position my meshes as I can see fit for custom views, but not only for custom views, but also for WhatsApp design, because such squares actually give dimensions and can be used from one part to the other to actually do the same dimensions of the piece. And now just setting some custom views that will help me later. And after I've done this, I can do a transparent view. After all these things are in place, I'm just switching in my previous WhatsApp design. I'm checking that it intersects the model a little bit. And now that I am expanding this model with the WhatsApp, I can see that the premolars are too small in my view. And I am going to start modifying them. And after modifications done by pulling on dimensions of these premolars, I can go to the measuring tool and measure the teeth from the contralateral side and actually give my WhatsApp the same dimensions as the teeth on the other side. And I can add more material. This will give me the possibility to use teeth from a library with the dimensions of the teeth from the contralateral side. So not a copy of the teeth, but teeth from library with the dimensions I want from the other side. Also, I am going to expand the view from the custom view I've just set, and I am going to adjust my WhatsApp looking at the teeth from the other side, and also taking into account the number of squares and the lines that you can see overlaid on this said WhatsApp. I am doing modifications by pulling with a morph tool. Now I'm watching my model again to see that the teeth intersect. I'm going to merge them, as you already know, and get a new WhatsApp model. Rename it, check it, and things are in place and done. Now we export everything and this demonstration is done. So although until now we only talked about WhatsApps that we build and we modify and play with them and get a desired outcome, if you don't have the time to do this, another technique is to just export your models to your local lab and your technician will do the WhatsApp for you. In the situation when he sends the WhatsApp back in a merged model, everything is fine and you can just jump this step. But if he sends you a bridge and the virtual extraction model, as you'll see here, you'll need to actually modify the bridge so that it intersects the virtual extraction model. And let's see how we do this. We are just going to block the model and then go to the bridge and start pulling on the from underneath the bridge to get little intersections. As you can see here, we are not manipulating the brush size, but the actual brush size stays the same, and we manipulate its dimension, but just zooming in and out from the model. So this is a nice workaround to actually work with brush size. And after we just pulled on the model, we can see that we now have intersections, and we'll do the Boolean union, and now everything is going to work just fine. The second way the technician can send you a model is to actually give an open bridge, as you can see here. And if the bridge is open and you want to merge it, the first thing you do, you'll just go and close the bridge with fill holes function. Let's see, we just press a button. If we have the desired outcome from just filling the holes, then we just merge the bridge. If not, we are going to go back and bridge the gaps in these spaces. It's very important that if you pull a first line, the second line needs to connect with the first. If not, the lines will not intersect correctly. Then you fill holes, and if you have a nice outcome, then everything is fine. If not, you just go back one step and start pulling on these lines you've just created, then close the holes and just smooth a little bit on the edges to not have rough spots, as you can see in the image. After everything is smoothed out, you will go and merge the model. If he sends you the teeth separately, this is also good. You're just going to close the holes. Normally, they're gonna go smoothly, and you'll need to actually merge this extraction model with the teeth, but do remember to select all the teeth that he sent you. If not, you are just going to get gaps in your model. When these things are done, some little errors can go into your models, so you can just zoom, and this happens at the edges of the models. Just zoom to the edges, and if you see errors, just select these areas and cut them out, as you can see in the video. Now I'm going to show you another case, and what you'll see here building up on the screen is actually the digital patient. We are going to see that we have the face scan of the patient, we have the antagonist, we have the pre-op model, and if we zoom in and deselect the pre-op model, you are going to see that we have prepped teeth. And also for this patient, we have recorded the movements of the patients with intersection models for protrusive movement and for lateral movement, for lateral right and left. But everything that you see here is still not enough, in my opinion, to actually do a correct wax-up. And the missing information that is not shown on the screen is the actual bone of the patient. You are missing the structures of the bone, you are missing the roots, you are missing their angulation to actually be able to understand how to position the wax-up in such a manner that you are not impinging on the pulpal tissue of the patient. So, with that being said, we are now going to get to a new step of building these wax-ups and actually getting the hard tissues of the patient from their CT. To be able to do this, we are going to use a platform that I've discovered some years ago that and I am very fond of. It's called DiagnoCat, and first, when I found out about them, it was doing segmentation, but I have also seen some nice surprises that I'm actually going to share with you right now. So the DiagnoCat is a cloud-based system, and as you can see on the screen, we are going to start with opening their homepage and logging into the system. You have a QR code there, and if you find this service useful, I encourage you to scan this QR code to be able to get to their platform and also use this incredible tool. As you can see here, I'm starting by adding the name of the patient. In this case, it's going to be my Medit webinar. And adding a patient ID number. specifying the sex of the patient and the birth date of the patient, the treating doctor. And now that we have this case here, we are just going to skip forward to the CBCT section and actually upload the CT files of the patient. And you can select the directory. The files are going to be uploaded in the cloud. And immediately after uploading, you are going to be able to order reports. And what is interesting here, usually I was just getting the STL part, as you can see here, and ordering every structure of the STL separate. And also I'm going to order one more time with the structure merged. And after I do this, I found out that I can actually also order a radiology report. And this is when I think things started being interesting for me. And in the next slide, you'll see why. Now that the reports are done, we can check the radiology report, and this is very helpful in the conversation with the patient because you can show them all their pathology, and pathology that you diagnostic can also be backed up by the AI, and this is extremely interesting for them to see. Also, you will be able to see that every pathologic finding that Diagnocat does is backed up by percentage. So how sure the program is that the actual pathology is or is not there. You can modify every finding for every tooth or structure on screen. You can also use Diagnocat as a DICOM file viewer, as you'll see, by slices, and also modify the saved pictures on screen. You'll see here how it also works as a DICOM file viewer. In the upper part, you see how sure it is that it's found diagnostics correctly. For example, the artificial crown is 100% there. Every tooth has pathology and diagnostic correctly, but you need to check and make sure. And also, after you've done this, you are going to go to the STL part of the program and export the STL files to your computer. I just did it to my laptop, where you're going to find the archives. You're going to extract the files from the archives and be able to go to the next step. If you like this program, I strongly encourage you to scan their QR code. Now that we have unpacked the files, we are going to attach them to the case by the attach function from Medit link. We are going to rename them if needed. We are going to import both the full cranium of the patient with all teeth together, but also the files separate, but by tooth and by maxilla, mandible, bone, face, everything. And now that everything is in place, we are going to start Medit design. And in Medit design, we are going to select the scan file of the patient, but also the segmented files of the patient. Now that everything comes in, we are going to split this data by parts. In the first group, as you can see, are the scanned files and the face scan. In the second group, I'm just putting my full segmentation, so only one file containing all the data. And in the third group, as you see here, I am going to select and import the separated files, such as teeth, as mentioned before, mandible, maxillary, face segmentation from the CT. And now we are going to align, first we are going to align the pre-op scan with the maxilla segmentation. We are just going to clean the lower teeth because they are not fully represented there. And now we are going to overlap the files. We are going to do this by 3-point alignment because the segmented files are not as precise to do an automatic alignment. Now that everything has been aligned, we are checking the reference as to the second group, the cranium, and taking all the other data as the target. And we are going to align the maxillary bone from the second group with the third group. You'll see here, this is going to be able to be possible to align automatically because it's the same bone, the same segmentation. Let's see, automatic alignment. We check the fit. As you can see, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be completely green. And now every tooth and every segmentation is in the correct position to the jaw of the patient. As you can see, all the roots are in place, but also the teeth. We don't need the crowns of the teeth. So because of this, I'm just going to cut the crowns out. When you do this, just please don't do it in one step. Go to every tooth and select it properly. I just was in a hurry here. But as you can see, we have the scanned crowns with the roots of the patient and the bone of the patient, and now everything is in place, and we can go one step further and do a wax up that takes into account every single structure the patient has here displayed. So in this next slide, I want to show you how you are going to be able to merge one crown. Actually, this time it's a prepped crown to its corresponding root. And to do this, we are going to duplicate the structure of the tooth. We are going to make sure we select everything. And after we do this, we just click the button. We are going to have a new mesh, and we are going to name it as the crown of the canine. And now, as you can see, we have the crown and we have the root. We are going to clean the root to actually not overlap with the crown. We select both structures and we manage the selection. Afterwards, we are just going to make the root disappear and deselect the structures of the crown, so not to delete, and only delete the overlapping structures from the root. And now we are going to bridge the two structures together, but as you can see, the bridge function does not work on two separate meshes. So we are going to combine this time, so not union, but just combine the root we've just cut pieces from with the crown. And now the new mesh is going to be named root and crown. We are going to bridge the two structures together, and we are going to be very attentive for these bridges to actually be a nice and nicely done and don't not have any overlaps. Now that we've bridged, we are going to close the holes, and in some cases we have little errors that are not going to close well, and just use the morph tool, just pull on the structures and do some more bridges, and in the end everything is going to close nicely. As you can see, some little manipulation of the meshes. Don't worry, it's nothing major. It doesn't matter that you pull a little bit on the root. And now a new bridge, and we close everything, and everything is correctly merged. And now we have the bone with a prepped tooth and its corresponding root, and now we can see the whole model together. Last thing I want to talk about with you today is the actual ability to measure the structures you've imported and you've overlaid in the digital patient to see where the bone is positioned and where the gingiva is, and where you have placed your wax up, to be able to modify structures accordingly, and also to be able to do crown lengthenings to know if the bone is going to be remodeled or only to the gingiva to be cut. You are going to know where you'll need to actually do maybe a Zucchelli technique. So everything is going to be very clear if you measure the tissues that you have at your disposal. Here you can see we are doing a measurement between the wax up we've done on the teeth of the patient and on their roots. The bone is there, the scanned gingiva is there, so every structure there is going to be able to be measured in the measuring tool of Medit design. We now deselect the meshes, and we have only the slices we've done with the sectional views, and in these sectional views, we are going to do the set measurements, and we are going to know how tall the gingiva is. As you can see here, we have a 3.9 millimeter gingiva to the bone, and where the wax-up starts and how far away from the bone it is, and everything that you need to measure is here for you to be able to do this. So I hope these techniques will prove useful to you, and I hope that they will add value to your way of diagnostics and of doing wax-ups. And we'll see each other in the next webinar, where I'm going to show you how this wax-up and these techniques can be applied during the scanning phase. And also in a future webinar, we'll see how to do the temps and how to do definitive crowns from these files we've just gathered, and maybe how to do splint for injection techniques, how to do models in model design for these wax-ups. So everything is going to come together in the future steps. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you for sharing all your tips with us, Dr. Bogdan.
My pleasure here to be able to talk with you guys. And maybe let's talk about the Q&A session now.
Okay. So we have 3 questions in total. And the first question is just my personal asking in your lecture. So question number 1. In the lecture, you had just aligned facial scan with CBCT image. So are they all free software? And I also want to ask one more thing. Why did you align them all together when you're doing digital wax-up?
So first, let's talk about face scans. Face scans can range from free software on your phone that gives a model of the face. Sometimes it's a low poly count, sometimes it's a better count regarding the program that you are using. And then you can go forward and buy maybe hobbyistic object scanners, or maybe even scanners like the one from Funk that I'm using, or maybe the one from Ray, that actually give much better face scans. And with this data, you can actually build better smile design for the patient, because you can put the teeth on a position that is actually beneficial for the smile of this patient. And also, after you have the face in place and you are able to work on the smile of the patient, you will actually also need to work on the length of the crown. And to be able to do this, you need the position of the bone beneath the actual scans, and you merge the position of the bone and the roots and everything together, and you are able to now do crown lengthenings, or to plan maybe a Zucchelli technique. And everything is going to actually integrate, and you are also knowing if you have the bone, and with some programs you even can extract the pulp chamber, and you can see how to prepare the wax up so that you are not impinging even on the pulp chamber. So everything comes together in a nice big digital patient that is very beneficial for the planning in the end.
With the CBCT data, you can see the root angulation or flange or the bone resorption and things. So these are very helpful for doing digital wax. That's what you mean?
Exactly. It's very beneficial to see where the roots are, to know where the bone starts, because when you open a flap to do a crown lengthening, you will want to know if you just cut the gingiva or you are going to actually do also some bone remodeling. So this is helpful. Then with the roots, you also can go with an orthodontics case, and to know how to displace the teeth, to put them in a proper position, to then do the planning and continue with the prosthetic phase.
But in your lecture, the case was just for the full mouth rehabilitation, or ortho, or what was it about?
No, ortho was not planned in this case, but merging the actual crowns with the roots is very helpful for orthodontists as well. So it's a technique that you can use on any case you need when it goes to ortho, for example, for aligners.
Okay. Okay, so let's move on to question number 2. Question number 2, can we make a custom teeth library with Medit design? If yes, can you explain the whole process about it?
Yeah, so my workflow here is to actually go to ExoCAD and plan plan a full arch of teeth, and I'm using their full anatomic libraries, any library I need, and I just put it outside the arch. Then I export every tooth from the library and bring it in Medit Design. And Medit Design offers a custom base, and you place the custom base in contact with those teeth that you just imported. You Boolean merge it together, and now that you have a base with the teeth from Exo, you can go further because Medit Design does not export in the library format of Medit Clinic Card. You take this base with the teeth, with the new teeth, and go to the orthodontics program of Medit Ortho, and there you can extract all teeth with open bases. This is very important. And now Medit Ortho actually exports these teeth that you actually took from another library in a format that Medit Clinic can use. And now you have the library of this said ExoCAD case in Medit. You just need to do it once to have the whole library there. So I encourage you to do this. Every library that you actually like, you're going to do this protocol one time, and then you will be able to use it as many times as you like.
For me, it seems quite complicated. So can't we just design from the Medit design?
We can design in Medit Design, we can take teeth in from another library and we can use them there. But then we are going to need to do some things in the end. For example, after you place the teeth, you'll not be able to place connectors. So you'll just have the teeth there. To be able to then do intersections, you're going to need to cut the teeth to the gingiva and to the proximal points with the model you have. And then occlusion is also going to be able to be possible there by cutting the teeth to the antagonist. Antagonist cuts the teeth that you just placed in. But the problem is you'll need to do in Medit Design, you'll need to do the connectors by hand. To place connectors by hand, this is a little harder. So maybe it would be better to just use a library like this, like we've talked, to build the position of the teeth, to do all the cut intersections and place the connectors, and just then come to Medit Design and do your modifications there.
Okay. I think there will be so many people thinking like me. So your answer, I think, will be really helpful.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Also, these ways of working are already presented in the webinar. So you'll see there how you can do an occlusal cut, or how you can adapt a tooth to the underlying base.
Okay. Okay, last question. Question number 3. Is a Smile Design app helpful when doing digital workshop with Medit Clinic Care, or do you just use it for diagnostic purpose and explaining about the patient?
So it's very helpful, but because when you do this Smile Design in the Medit app, in the Medit Smile Design app, you actually get values from them. And after you get the values of the length of the teeth and the width of the teeth, you are going to go to Medit Design. And as I showed you in the webinar, you place a grid over the teeth you are working on. And now because you have the values from Smile Design, you are going to be able to adapt the teeth that you are working on with the grid. For example, if you have 5 millimeters of width for a tooth, you're just going to use the grid to get it from that set viewing point to that 5 millimeter with the grid, because every square is 1 millimeter. So it's going to be easy to adapt the teeth you already have by the grid that overlays.
Okay, so what is grid? Grid?
The grid is actually a tool in Medit Design on the right of the program, where many squares lines, vertical and horizontal, are overlaid over the face and over the teeth of the patient. And these squares that you see there actually have a very clear amount of millimeters. Every square is 1 millimeter. So you will know how big an object is beneath this square. And you are going to be able to adapt the teeth from left to right to always see that you have the same dimensions on both sides.
Okay. Thank you for answering.
My pleasure.
Okay, that was all about it for today.
It was such a great pleasure and honor to be here and continue these webinars. And I hope to see you all next time.
Okay, so you'll be able to watch this webinar on our YouTube channel and Medit Academy. Thank you for being here, Dr. Bogdan.
My pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.